Now it's time for the second team to look at from the four teams I'll be looking at in the Big 12, those teams in Texas, based on the Dave Campbell magazine. And today is the Baylor Bears. Now, to address a certain Texas A&M fan, Faye Collette, he is right in the sense that I am, I guess, high on Baylor, as he said, or I think highly of them. No, I don't think they're going to win 9-10 games, but as you'll see in what I'm about to talk about, I am a little bit optimistic about what they can do this season. The prediction I'm going to make may be a little bit inflated. They may not do as well, but I'm looking on the bright side for Baylor. Now, to preface it, I do talk highly of Baylor. I'm impressed by what they've done last season. Even though they only won 4 games, they were close. They almost beat Missouri. Were close with Nebraska. Should have beat Texas Tech. But, of course, they're Baylor. They're a team trying to learn how to win. And, sometimes that's just it. You don't know how to win the game. I think that will be addressed somewhat this year. But we'll get in a little bit. The thing is, when I'm talking about Baylor for the last 15 years has been pathetic. They haven't been to a bowl game since 1994. So when I see any kind of improvement or any sense of competition from that program, I got to give them credit. And Art Briles coming in has done a great job his first season just to establish somewhat of a culture of not winning yet, but being competitive and setting high goals for a team that may not be able to reach them just yet. Now, of course, we all know who the focus is on this team, Robert Griffin, who came in last season and really turned some heads. The guy, not only is he, of course, he's a mobile quarterback. He was a track star at Baylor and in high school. So, of course, he can run. But the thing was, the dude was accurate, 60% passing efficiency, and only threw 3 interceptions. And a lot of those passes that were incomplete are due to the fact that he's got Baylor wide receivers. So that's kind of the deal there. But the thing is, when I watched a few Baylor games, I watched the Texas Tech game. Of course, I watched him against us over in Austin. Dude's smart when he runs. He's not a guy who just takes off whenever. He knows not only when he takes off how to get through guys and how to make a big play almost every time he uses his legs. That is going to help the Baylor Bears a lot this season. Because let's face it, the Baylor defense isn't stopping anybody. And in a conference full of gunslingers, that pathetic defense is not going to help. You're going to have to score. But let's get right into it and talk about this team. Let's just go through the schedule here. At Wake Forest, I think that's a loss. Now, if they can win that game, I think they're guaranteed a bowl game. That's asking a lot to go on the road against a team who in Wake Forest, who for the last 4 years have been to a bowl game and is a consistent, winning team. Not a very good team, at least compared to Texas, but a team that is competitive and knows how to win. I think they will win. I do think they get their first wins week 2 against UConn. Last season, they should beat UConn in Connecticut. They blew the game, lost by 3, I believe. And so I really think that they will win that game in Baylor. And I think UConn, the whole Big East is pathetic. None of them are ranked. So Baylor will win that game. You got Northwest State, that's a win. Kent State, that's a win. So in the first 4 games, I got to win in 3, which is what's big. Because last season, they really didn't take advantage of their non-conference. You're going into probably arguably the toughest division in a conference in the Big 12 South, and you're one of the bottom-rung teams. You've got to win your non-conference games. So got 3 and 4, then going into Oklahoma, that's a loss. They're not winning in Norman. At Iowa State is one of the most pathetic programs in the entire nation. I don't care if it's at Iowa State. I don't care if it was in one of their backyards. Baylor's winning that game. That's 4 wins. Oklahoma State at home. Oklahoma State is going to have that breakout season everyone's predicting them to have, and even without that, Oklahoma State is still good enough to beat Baylor, even in Waco. Now, Campbell has them beating Nebraska at home. Now, I've said I've picked Nebraska to win the North. Most people have, and I think he did as well. Nebraska's coming in ranked number 22 in the country. I think Nebraska is on their way to not just winning the North, but being a team that actually represents the North. We've had North winning teams lately because someone has to win that division, but none of them really deserved it. Even Missouri, when Missouri stepped up against Big 12 South teams, they got punished. They almost, and we'll talk about later. They almost got beat by Baylor last year in Waco. So, but I do think Nebraska wins that game. Campbell's got Baylor winning it. I think Nebraska wins. Then you got at Missouri. Now this is where I differ. I think Missouri lost a lot. Missouri has lost a lot of guys, and this will be a test. And this is kind of jumping out on a limb for Baylor because it's on the road. And let's face it, when you're a team like Baylor, you usually need that home crowd, or at least not that opponent crowd getting too loud on you. But I'm going to stick with the Bears and say they will knock off Missouri in Missouri. Then you've got at home against Texas. Texas is going to win that game. I will say Texas needs to watch out to not get upset. We've seen crazier things have happened in college football. I don't think Texas will lose that game, but I don't think it's a game they need to look past, as you usually can with Baylor. As I've said, Robert Griffin, a mobile quarterback, is a great equalizer in this entire sport. Then you've got at Texas A&M. I don't care if it's at Kyle Field. Texas A&M is not any good. Baylor win that game. Then they end the season in the Dallas Cowboys Stadium against Texas Tech. Now, if you guys remember last season, I'll tell you something. Last season, I had a friend of mine who goes to Baylor come over to my house and watch the game. I was cheering louder for Baylor than any Baylor fan there was. And when they lost, I was more disappointed than he was. And I remember he just told me, that's Baylor. They lost by a touchdown. They had the game in control all game. At the end, Tech kind of came alive and won that game. Tech's lost a lot. And this is probably the most... We'll see how Tech does during the season, and we'll see how bold this prediction is. This is probably me being optimistic, kind of wanting to see this team do well to make the conference look better, because when you've got one of your bottom teams starting to rise, it does make the conference look a little better and be more competitive and competitive in the bowl here. I'm going to pick Baylor to beat Texas Tech. I've called people. I've let them know that so they can hold me to it. I am going to stick with Baylor and say that they knock off Texas Tech in the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. I think that Texas Tech has got a whole new offense going. I think with Baylor almost beating them last year and the great team Tech had last year, Tech is taking a nosedive almost. They're not even ranked in the top 25. Baylor, on the other hand, I think has gotten a little bit better. And even on defense, though they only have one returning starter, they do have a guy named Phil Taylor who came in from Penn State. Was a starter at Penn State for 2 seasons, coming in, and I think he's a great guy. He's a guy who can really clog up the holes. And for the Baylor defense, you've got all your linebackers and all of the safeties are all returning starters. Now, let's be real, these are Baylor returning starters on defense, so I don't know how much that's going to mean, but at least you're not having new guys coming out there trying to fill those shoes. On offense, Griffin is going to have a lot of veteran wideouts coming back. Got to have a veteran tight end, and I think 2 offensive linemen will return, but he's got to replace 3. So we'll see how that works out for Baylor. With the offensive line play, you need that, but at least he's a mobile guy who, if there is pressure, he can get away from it. I've got Baylor winning 7 games this year and going to a bowl game. Baylor fans, I'm rooting for you guys to do that. I hope you guys make the conference look better. I don't have them beating the big dogs. But I do think that this is a team who can be somewhat formidable and will stay competitive throughout the year. And Griffin's going to be there for 3 more years, including this season. Look for Baylor. I mean, Baylor's already taken a couple of recruits from Oklahoma State and Oklahoma. Granted, those guys probably weren't going to be starters on those teams, but to say that for Baylor, that's a pretty big step. So Baylor Bears got you winning 7 games and going to a bowl game. Hopefully it'll come through. Campbell's got you going 6-6, going to a bowl game. I'm giving you that extra game against Tech. Do it for me. See you guys. Hook 'em horns.